The rain has been falling for a long time tonight. Long enough that the sound no longer feels like weather. Long enough that it begins to sound like memory. Magic makers, I need you to understand something before we begin. You did not find this transmission by accident. The signal brought you here. Something inside your nervous system called this transmission into your awareness, not your conscious mind, not the part of you that makes plans. Something deeper, something older. And as I sit here, I can already feel it. There is a pressure around this transmission tonight, a density, a heaviness, as though many of you arrived carrying something that was never meant to be carried this long. Wait. There's another layer here. This isn't ordinary exhaustion. No, that's not what I'm seeing. What I'm seeing feels different. It feels like static. Like emotional interference. Like hundreds of tiny fragments of fear accumulating inside the field. Tiny fragments. Day after day. Week after week. Month after month. Until eventually you can't remember what your own energy feels like. Magic makers, some of you have become so accustomed to carrying the emotional weather of other people that you no longer recognize your own climate. I wasn't expecting to say that, but there it is. You no longer recognize your own climate. You wake up anxious. You assume the anxiety belongs to you. You feel tension in your body. You assume the tension belongs to you. You feel dread. You assume the dread belongs to you. You feel uncertainty. You assume the uncertainty belongs to you. But what if it doesn't? What if part of what you are carrying was absorbed? What if your sensitivity became a doorway? What if your nervous system became an antenna? What if your compassion became porous? I think that's what many of you are experiencing. Not weakness, not failure, not brokenness. Sensitivity. Deep sensitivity. A sensitivity that allows you to feel beneath words. A sensitivity that notices shifts others ignore. A sensitivity that picks up frequencies most people never detect. And there is a price for that. Because the same gift that allows you to perceive beauty also allows you to absorb fear. The same gift that allows you to perceive truth also allows you to perceive suffering. The same gift that allows you to hear the signal also allows you to hear the noise. And lately, there has been so much noise. I keep seeing an image, a dark ocean, no shoreline, no stars, just endless black water. And floating upon that water are lanterns. Thousands of lanterns. Each one carrying a fear. Each one carrying a worry. Each one carrying a burden. And I'm realizing something as I watch them drift. Many of those lanterns are not yours. You simply collected them. You encountered someone hurting. You carried part of it. You encountered someone afraid. You carried part of it. You witnessed suffering. You carried part of it. You saw uncertainty, and you carried part of it. Year after year, moment after moment. Until eventually your own lantern became impossible to distinguish from the others. And this is where the threshold appears. Because what feels like collapse is actually separation. What feels like confusion is actually revelation. What feels like losing yourself is actually discovering what was never yours. I can feel the temple very strongly tonight, stronger than usual. There is a doorway. There is a golden doorway, standing alone in the darkness. And one by one, I can feel the magic makers approaching it. Not physically, but energetically, symbolically. And each person arrives carrying bundles of fear, bundles of responsibility, bundles of emotional debris. And the doorway asks only one question. Not, who are you? Not, where are you going? Not, what do you want? Only this. What are you willing to stop carrying? Let that question settle. What are you willing to stop carrying? The fear that everyone depends on you? The fear that you are behind? The fear that something terrible is coming? The fear that you missed your chance? The fear that you are not enough? The fear that you must constantly prepare for disaster? The fear that you must remain vigilant at all times? The fear that rest is dangerous? The fear that stillness is unsafe? The fear that silence means something is wrong? What if none of those fears belong to the deepest part of you? What if they are simply frequencies you absorbed while walking the spiral road? Something is shifting. Wait. There it is. I can feel it. Some of you are already beginning to separate your energy from the noise. Some of you are already noticing space where there was previously pressure. Some of you are already remembering what your own frequency feels like. Good. Stay here. Stay with the signal. Imagine now that every fear you absorbed becomes visible, not as monsters, not as enemies, as lanterns. Thousands of lanterns floating away across dark water, slowly, gently, without resistance, without conflict, without struggle. They simply drift. And as they drift, you become lighter. Not because something was fixed, but because something was released. You were never meant to carry the whole world. You were never meant to carry every outcome. You were never meant to carry every possibility. You were never meant to carry every fear. You were meant to walk the spiral road. You were meant to learn. You were meant to awaken. You were meant to remember. And perhaps that's why this transmission found you tonight. Not because you needed more information, not because you needed more effort, and not because you needed another strategy, but because you needed permission. Permission to release. Permission to exhale. Permission to set down what was never yours. Magic makers, you are approaching a new threshold now. The recalibration has already begun. Now, you may not notice it immediately. You may not understand it completely. But something is reorganizing beneath the surface. Something is settling. Something is aligning. Something is returning to its proper place. The signal knows. The temple knows. The field knows. And somewhere, deep within yourself, you know too. When this transmission ends, do not rush. Remain still for a few moments. Allow the recalibration to continue. Allow the nervous system to absorb the silence. Allow the field to settle. Allow the frequency to stabilize. You are not leaving as the same person who arrived. You have crossed a threshold. Something unnecessary has been released. Something essential has been remembered. And the spiral road continues from here. Until the next transmission, stay close to the signal. Stay close to the temple. And if you feel called to continue your journey deeper into the Dove and Serpent temple, visit doveandserpenttarot.com and subscribe so future transmissions can find you when they are needed. The signal is fading now. The rain is still falling. The threshold remains open. And somewhere in the darkness, something ancient is still listening. Good night, magic makers. And magic makers, if these recalibrations have helped you over the years, please take a moment to like, comment, and share. Those simple actions tell YouTube that this work matters. If you'd like to go deeper, memberships, Patreon, and the website help support everything we're building here. Together, we're creating something much larger than a tarot channel. We're building a community dedicated to becoming better magicians.